Good afternoon, everyone. This Search Warrant. I'm your host, Jake Jacobs, former Philadelphia Homicide and Officer Involved Shooting Unit Detective. Today, John is off again today. Get well soon, John. And Greg is off. So see Greg soon. Today, we'll be starting off the show with Christine Lynn Harvey. We're going to talk about data centers. And in the second hour, we're going to be talking with John Allante McAuley of Flip Philly Red. And he is running to be a state GOP representative along with William Small, who is running to be a congressperson in the 3rd Congressional District in Philadelphia. But since Christine has very little time to be with us today, we're going to start with Christine. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Jake. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the dangers that these AI data centers are to our health, our environment, and they're basically stealing the resources so that just a few of them can get rich, you know? So recently, I think it was in the past few weeks, there was an AI data center. Well, you know about the one that opened up in Utah that we discussed last time, that was being pushed by Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. So that got pushed through without the residents, with the residents protesting that they didn't want this in their community. And then we find out that another AI data center hijacked something like 50 million gallons of water, which is the equivalent of 44 Olympic-sized swimming pools. They had hijacked the public water supply, and nobody knew about it until the people living nearby in a luxury gated community started noticing that their water pressure was going down. And sure enough, the public utility investigated and found that this company had hijacked the public water supply. So these companies are not being kept in check. They lie about the environmental impacts of the data center. They're putting pollution into the air. They're using the water supply to cool their computers, and they're creating noise pollution, which has been linked to a whole assortment of health conditions.
Now, besides the water supply, are they creating any other dangers to the environment?
Well, just to give you an example, a lot of these tech bros are really turning out to be psychopaths. Peter Thiel, who founded PayPal with Elon Musk and also founded Palantir, have created a huge surveillance network that they're spying on all of us, aggregating all of our data, and then selling it not only to our own government, but foreign governments as well. And these people have no loyalty to the United States whatsoever. In fact, many of them talked about allowing the world to be run by technocrats without the need for democracy.
Well, it seems like, I know we talked a little bit about it last week. It seems as though the lobbying is overtaking, the pay to play, so to speak. Because like when you call them psychopath technocrats or whatever the case may be, you got the data centers that you're speaking about. We have the windmills and all these the solar panels that no one's telling us the dangers to our environment besides what you talked about last week also with the phosphates, in our food supply. So, collectively, do you believe that all these new environmental dangers is causing the increases in cancers and things of that nature, even with these tech data centers?
Well, of course, noise pollution does affect the body. It can give you cancer if you're being exposed to it long term. Whatever they tell you, whatever they're telling the planning board, and I'm sure many of them getting paid under the table for this because the people who own all of this are billionaires. So they have endless gobs of money to corrupt. Even though the regular population, you and me, the regular citizens, don't want this because it's pretty clear it's not going to be benefiting us in any way whatsoever. They're stealing our data. They're selling our data. They're spying on us without our knowledge. They're ripping us off. They're polluting the environment. They're not paying their fair share of taxes. I have to pay close to almost, 28%? Why are these big profitable multi-billion-dollar corporations getting away with not paying their fair share of taxes? Which helps build roads, which helps build public infrastructure that they're all using to our disadvantage. Like, there's already people are complaining their water is turning brown. They can't sleep at night from the noise because they live nearby these centers. They're taking people's property through public eminent domain. And like I said, I think the whole thing is planned because what they did to the farmers, what a great way to steal land for pennies on the dollar when a lot of these farmers are going bankrupt, 50% of them.
Yeah, I've noticed that, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's a great way to snatch up some cheap land. But meanwhile, where are we going to grow food? And a lot of these proponents like Sam Altman, who co-founded OpenAI, he has quote unquote altruistic ideas like a basic universal income that would give everybody $13,000 or so a year. But how do you live on that? You can't live on $13,000 with the cost of living being so high. And he never explained how that would come about, how he's going to implement this. So they talk a good talk because most of them are sociopaths. They don't care. Peter Thiel was interviewed recently, and I think a journalist asked him, well, what are your hopes for humanity? And he couldn't answer. He didn't. The question was something like, do you want to see humanity survive? And he hesitated. He couldn't even answer the question. He stuttered. So these people will sell you bullshit and make you think this is the most wonderful thing because they're basically conning everybody.
Well, every time you get a program or you need a new app, you talk about these data centers and stuff. I mean, I guess with all that fine print, they get around your constitutional rights when they say, just check this box. No one reads all that crap at the bottom. They make you agree in order to even maybe coming on here, to get on your social media account. You checking a box and you're saying, okay, I agree. Christine Lynn Harvey agrees to give all this stuff to Sam Altman or Peter Thiel. How do we get around that?
You give permission. It's you can switch off a lot of the in your phone. There's ways to go into the security settings, not share data, and you have to start by doing that. And you also have to, quite honestly, my whole thing is boycott everything. The brand new cars now are surveilling you. They have cameras. They can, if you happen to slouch down like this or move your head, and they think that you're falling asleep, they shut off the car and they send the data to your insurance company, so your rates go up. It's all about making money. That's the problem. You see, there's no altruistic benefit to any of this at all, because they're stealing basically they're stealing your identity. They're taking what makes you, your political views, your ideas about life, philosophy, but also most importantly, your fears, your concerns. They basically are thriving off your fear and capitalizing on your fear. So somebody like Sam Altman was very, very heavily invested in OpenAI, and he co-founded that with Elon Musk. Now, I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk, because Elon Musk and his Doge boys stole all of our social security numbers and bank accounts when they went into the social security system under the guise of saving, attacking or waste, fraud, and abuse. So I don't know if you know that, but they got all our very sensitive information.
Well, it's amazing how they use your fears, as you say, to take further control of you. I mean, we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and I'm actually at Police Week as we speak. And it's funny, I was talking to people yesterday, and they brought up some of the same concerns you literally just said. Boycotting was one person I spoke with about one issue, and the cars and the self-driving cars and automation of the cars, where if you close your eyes, they charge you with something that, and you have to pay more to your insurance company. And as far as the boycotting, why is gas so high? When it was trade.
Somebody's playing the market. Somebody is playing the market.
Yes.
And I'm sorry to say, but look at the top. Okay.
That's exactly what we were saying. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly.
The very small amount of people are benefiting from the hardships that we are now paying for. So they are literally extracting money out of us to make themselves rich because of the manufactured war, a bullshit war that we didn't need to get into. And everything is going up as a result. The gas is going up, the diesel's going up, the nitrogen fertilizer, the cost of food as a direct result of the nitrogen fertilizer going up because of this war. It wasn't needed. But if you look at the top, there's a certain amount of people that are benefiting in key cabinet positions. They're all benefiting from this nonsense.
Well, an important point you just brought up, one of our frequent guests, Heart and Soul, 8342, just like you said, it's privacy infringement. You don't have any, you don't have privacy in your car, you don't have privacy in your home, you don't have privacy anywhere. And we're giving away your unalienable rights. And for what and for who?
Well, it's so that a major corporation and the very few people, not the workers, the very few people who work at the top, who own all the shares of the stock, because buybacks used to be illegal. Buybacking stock, right? That used to be illegal. You couldn't buy back your own company stock. There's a reason why guardrails are in place. So the people at the top, the CEOs, the chief financial officers, they all buy their stock back. They own a majority of the corporation, and they're the ones making all the money. The rest of us are paying for it. We're paying to make them rich in higher food prices, higher gas prices, higher energy costs. So just an example of an AI data center, they're using the public infrastructure, the roads that lead into this area, that they use the trucks and everything. They're tearing up the road, just like Uber and DoorDash. They now have millions of people on the road in their cars trying to make a few bucks on the side. Why? Because the cost of living has gone so high that now you not only need a second job, but a third job. But you're using your car, you're using your gas to make these people at Uber and DoorDash rich, okay? And they've been caught time and time again stealing drivers' tip money. There's been numerous class action lawsuits. Uber is in a lot of trouble right now because a lot of their drivers have sexually assaulted passengers, and they're not doing anything to make sure this stuff doesn't harm the consumer or their workers. Okay, and then they're tearing up the roads because they're not even employing people. They're it's like a work for hire situation. They're not paying state taxes. They're not paying for the use of the roads, And the person who is struggling and needs this third job, they're putting wear and tear on their car. So there's a certain group of people, I don't know what you want to call them, parasites perhaps, that get everybody hooked on something, right? Like DoorDash or social media, get everybody hooked. And then they slowly start to do what's called enshittification, which is the platform, the services, the free things that used to be for free, right? Now you have to pay for. Or if you want to be a seller on Amazon, now you have to pay a sponsorship fee to get your listings boosted up in the rankings. So that's what happens with this. They create something that get everybody hooked, and then they charge you through the nose for it. Remember cable? Cable promised no ads, but meanwhile cable was always filled with ads. They lie. So you have to just assume that these companies are already lying to you and not to believe them. So when they come into a planning zone, a zone board meeting about putting up their data center, just assume they're lying, that the impact of their data center is not going to hurt the environment, not going to hurt people's health, not draw on the water supply. I mean, we're using millions and millions of gallons of water to cool these supercomputers. What do you?
Well, you're going to need more when as AI grows. You know, what you call it the enshittification, we used to call it testers. Like back in the day, they used to give out a tester, a vial of crack to the crackheads to get them hooked on crack, and the money's in the comeback. So that's basically what you have. You give the person the taste of crack, and it's the potent. The first tester is the good stuff. Then they keep coming back, but you never get that the tester thing. So you got to keep coming back to try to get to that tester high. And that's what Chris Rock actually had a comedy special. He says the money's in the comeback, and that's what it is. Everything's in the comeback. They get you hooked on
social media.
Yes.
Social media addicts people because the dopamine rush. That constant feedback. Oh, my friends like my post, this and that. It's a constant dopamine rush to be hooked onto the social media, and then they know everything about you, all your comments. They're collecting all your data, all your posts, all your connections, who you're connected to, and they're dangerous. Palantir too. It's a very dangerous company. Just what I said is that these tech bros that own all these things, they don't believe in democracy. You can look all of them up. Peter Thiel, Sam Altman. There's a guy called Curtis Yarvin, who's like this pseudo philosopher that all the tech bros latched onto. And he was the one that proposed the idea that it's better not to have a democracy and let the technocrats run the world. So now they're all in on this. They don't have any loyalty to the United States. They have, Sam Altman, what happened right now, there's a big lawsuit with Elon Musk suing him because they originally co-founded OpenAI. And the mission of OpenAI was supposedly to do good for humanity, right? And the philosophy of it was the company would put people over profit. But we've heard this before. This is like a bullshit term that they never adhere to, people over profit, right? So first of all, you can't believe anything they tell you because profit always comes before people, all right? And they don't care if they pollute the environment, they give you cancer, all in the name of progress. A lot of this AI is going to put people out of work, and there's no plan.
Yes.
There's no plan. What do you think is going to happen? It's going to turn into a Mad Max world. People they're not going to have food, resources. Everybody's going to be killing each other. So it's just like Mad Max.
Well, I was about to say, is that the plan?
I don't know. Perhaps maybe that's why they want to build a spaceship to Mars and live in Mars or something. Because they know what they're doing. They already know what the outcome is going to be. But they've hyped this up so much that they've also created an AI bubble. And when this AI bubble, that's why they're rushing to build all these data centers, right? They've created an AI bubble, and it's mostly on hype. And then when it crashes, it's really going to kill. It's going to kill a lot of things. You thought the financial crash of 2008 was bad. It's going to be about 50 times worse.
Well, that's why your stock is going. Kristen, I want to ask you a question about the phosphates. I didn't get a chance to ask you last week. When you talk about the water supplies, even with the tech stuff, when you buy those water filtration systems, do you believe that you get all the chemicals that's going into the ground and going into your water supply? Is that one way to filter out those chemicals?
Well, the best water filtration system is reverse osmosis, but it's very expensive. Mm-hmm. So I would say better to put one of those water faucet mounts, filtration mounts on your faucet, because that will filter out a lot of stuff, but it's not going to be, 100% effective. So a reverse osmosis is really, or just.
How about that zero water thing that I see? How about using a filtration system like that you buy at a Walmart or something like that, probably made in China?
Like I said, the best one is just reverse osmosis, distilled water, because that pretty much gets rid of all. It's just taking the condensation and leaving behind the toxins. Mm-hmm. But there's other things you can do to detox yourself, which we could say for another topic. But we're being bombarded by all angles, and I'm truly convinced of the fact that they want us sick, they want us dying, so that they can sell us their drugs and their surgery and everything else. And that's why I say boycott as much as you can. Like, for example, if you can, hold on to your car. Hold on to your old car, because it's not going to have that surveillance technology in it. If you can hold on to your car as long as possible. There are other ways that you can trick the surveillance system, which we can say for a completely different show. But there's ways that you can fix your phone so you're not tracked. Don't post your political views on social media anymore. They're collecting everything. They're going to collect everything, put you into a little box. And when the day comes when these technocrats take over, they're going to be able to find you, just like ICE is able to find all the illegal aliens because they're using Palantir. Palantir is collecting all this data. But Palantir does not owe its allegiance to the United States, because they sell their technology to other countries. To me, that's, why are you selling your tech? You were so worried about China stealing your technology. But meanwhile, you're allowing all these companies to do business with foreign enemies, many of them autocratic societies like North Korea and those kind of countries. They do business with these people, okay? And they're not held to any kind of account or anything. So what I was getting at with Sam Altman was the whole purpose of OpenAI was to do good for humanity. And like I said, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, but he is taking Altman to court because Altman changed the philosophy of the company. He was actually kicked out for being deceptive to the board and not communicating the way he should have. So he was hiding certain information. They fired him, got rid of him, and then he spent a lot of money to get himself back into that company. So he's back in, but now Elon Musk is suing him for putting profit over people. So we'll see. It's an interesting case, but and a lot of times these billionaire technocrats, they wrap themselves up in, oh, I'm doing this for the good of humanity, but they have not yet come out with an explanation as to how people are going to survive once their jobs are taken. There's not an supply of jobs out there, and our government hasn't been utilizing training programs. Like, we used to have a very robust vocational educational system where you would send people to trade school to learn things like, carpentry or to be an electrician or a carpenter or a mechanic, and all of that is gone. Most of it's gone. It's a very strong program in countries like Germany, because those countries don't forget their citizens. They're thinking of making sure their citizens are safe, protected, not exploited by corporations, used by corporations, and then thrown away like they're garbage. I don't know if you just saw recently Amazon. There was a worker that actually died on the floor of a warehouse, and the managers told the workers to keep working around the dead body. Can you imagine it?
Wow.
So this goes on. I'm not making this stuff up. You just have to open up the paper and read through all the bullshit to find the real stuff.
Yeah, it's using that fast fact checks. We should always say that about the neighborhood. The murders in the neighborhood is in that little small blurb in the fast facts. Hey, this guy got shot 47 times on the corner. But there's no crime on the front page. But the fast fact shows us, if you take the time to do your homework.
Well, here's the thing.
Chris, I'm sorry. I know you had to go, so I wanted to make sure.
I think it was Glenn last week who was asking, well, what can you do? What can you do? Let me tell you, doing something is better than doing nothing. If it means writing a letter, showing up at a board meeting and protesting that you don't want this in your community, then you got to get off your ass and do it, because now's the time. Because we're going to lose everything. They're already surveilling us. We don't really have any freedom anymore. The right to privacy was a cherished freedom. We don't even have that anymore. We've got corporations like Walmart price surveilling us, meaning you walk into the store, if you have the Walmart app on your phone, they're tracking you. They do something called dynamic. It's really surveillance pricing, where they take all your data. They can, artificial intelligence can put 2 and 2 together and say, oh, well, based on Christine's searches and based on Christine's shopping habits, and based on this, we can tell that Christine's in a bad place right now. She's using her credit card to buy groceries, and that she really needs diapers for her kid. So when I walk by the diaper aisle, the diapers that I walk by, if you notice, there's now digital displays in the Walmart. That's called dynamic pricing. So they can raise the prices of diapers if they know that you're struggling and you really need the diapers more than, and based on your past purchases, they can see you bought a lot of diapers. So you really need those diapers. They can jack up the price. All right. And it should be blanket against the law, but the laws have not caught up with the consumer yet. This is like a free-for-all Wild West for all these corporations to basically extract and exploit you as much as they can, because they like you vulnerable. They like you on the edge. They like you struggling. You understand?
100%. Well, Christine, I appreciate it today. I know you said you not a second more, so I wanted to make sure I don't want to have you not come back. So thank you for coming on. And just for the second, my mushrooms, I'm not eating them, but I still see my mushrooms growing out. So I'm growing my own plants. I'm growing my own peppers and stuff. So I'll keep you up to date when they sprout.
All right.
It's only been a couple of weeks.
That sounds good, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Have a nice one, Christine.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, coming up, we will have Flip Philly Red. State GOP candidate, John Allante McAuley. Also, we're going to have Ralph Cipriano joining us. I want to give you a couple of previews of Mr. McAuley. Here's a little taste of him.
Good morning, everybody. My name is John Allante McAuley. I'm with a grassroots organization called Flint Philly Red. We're here to offer you something different because you've been voting Democrat for the mayor's office for the past 70 years. In regard to bill number 250768, or what's called the Stop Trashing Your Air Act, a couple of weeks ago, Councilwoman Gunther Gear had children come to City Hall to advocate for this bill. It's in my opinion that you can't possibly care about the children's air quality when you stand with Planned Parenthood and not care if they even make it into this world or not. The Stop Trashing Our Air Act should be called the Stop Trashing Our Babies Act. You can't possibly care about the air quality for children when you align yourself with racist white liberals like Margaret Sanger, who said she wanted to get black women to abort their babies to exterminate the black community. You can't care about the air quality of children when you're found with CHOP giving puberty blockers and hormones to our children. You can't possibly care about the air quality of our children when you're found with transgenders reading books to our children. How can you care?
Hold up 1 second, sir. One moment, please. No matter, this is the people's house, right? And so we want everybody to have a chance to speak. No matter how much we may disagree with what is being presented, freedom of speech, okay? So let's let him speak and proceed. But let's not boo so we don't have boos on the other side. We want to hear everybody's speech.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Sir, no hate speech. No hate speech.
My First Amendment right, I can say what I want. I ain't threatening nobody.
Understood.
How can you care about the air quality when 15-year-old boys and 50-year-old men are smoking weed on SEPTA trains? You possibly can't care about the air quality when the stench of homelessness is running rampant on these SEPTA trains. Stacey Garrity for governor, John Allante McAuley for PA GOP chair.
That's our guest who will be here shortly. But first, I'm going to bring up an oldie but goodie, Mr. Ralph Cipriano. Hey, Ralph.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I guess you've heard Mr. McAuley.
Oh, yeah.
What can you tell us about Mr. McAuley before he gets here?
Oh, geez. Well, this guy is such a breath of fresh air. I mean, he goes into the Lion's Den every Thursday at those moronic city council meetings. And I got to tell you, Jake, when was the last time you were in city council chambers? Because it's way more of a circus than I remember.
I haven't been there in years, but for watching Mr. McAuley, and it has gotten worse.
Well, first of all, the wimpy ass Republicans that they used to have, they've been run out of town, and now we've got the communists in there, the Working Families Party, and those people are just flat out communists. And it's just, it's so flaky, left-wing crazy in there. I can't believe it. And the beauty of John Allante McAuley is he's fearless. I mean, he just goes in there and he lets it rip. And they have, their own rules say you're supposed to get 3 minutes for public speaking. When he's around, they cut it to 2, then they cut it to 1. One day when I was in there, he didn't last 30 seconds, and they cut him off. And the council president, the Honorable Kenyatta Johnson, had him escorted out of there the last couple times he was in there. So it's just really insane what goes on in that chambers. One of the last days I was there, they were giving Larry Krasner, our illustrious DA, the power to arrest, to prosecute ICE officers if they wore masks in Philadelphia. So, which I think is rather unconstitutional from the last time I checked. So, it's just really crazy. And John Allante McAuley is taking it on. And I think all of us owe him a debt of gratitude for that.
I agree. And right before John gets here, I'm going to I think he might want to see it. The clips that you're referring to, when you have a council president, and it's actually a violation of his First Amendment right, especially when you're doing political speech like that, and the council president acts as a dictator or a communist, and not only throw you out, but you have a person. Now, Kenyatta Johnson endorsed the idiot Sharif Street for the 3rd congressional district seat being vacated by Dwight Evans.
Yeah.
So one of the guys on Flip Philly Red is a guy, I think his name is William Smalls.
Yes.
And at that same meeting, Kenyatta throws him out also.
Yes.
So you're definitely violating their First Amendment rights, because you didn't want to hear what they had to say. You pretty much silenced them.
The only 2 people that were thrown out were 2 black Republicans.
Yes, 2 black Republicans.
It's pretty funny. Jake, you changed your wardrobe, by the way. You look like you're on a golf course.
Well, I'm down at Police Week, and I wanted to come down because this is the 20. It's amazing when we talk about these communists. This is coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, a day that I remember all too well. And tunnel the towers. I want to see the beam. They bring in the beam from the World Trade Center down here.
Really?
If it's not, I haven't gotten down there yet. I'm actually on Capitol Hill, so I'll see that. So I didn't walk around with my normal stop being a demo black or STEM, get rid of STEAM. We need science, technology, education, engineering, and math, not DEI, and DEI must die. I still have them, Ralph. I did let everybody know who I still have the Ulysses report. So, unfortunately, our leader is under the weather still. So hopefully he'll get well soon. So,
Any health updates to share or no?
None right now. So hopefully he'll get better. We know everyone knows he would love to be here, and I'm going to hold down the fort. But I want to give you another clip of what you referred to with our Mr. Allante, the breath of fresh air. Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Allante McAuley. I'm with a grassroots organization called Flip Philly Red. We're here to offer you something different because you've been voting Democrat for the mayor's office for the past 70 years. In regard to resolution number 260437, this is a simple procedure to extend existing homes program budget for fiscal year 2027. This program was touted to be conservative friendly, but when I took a magnifying glass to it, my eyebrows raised. Because of the ICE out legislation, being a legal alien is now a protected class under the city's Fair Practices Ordinance. Developers and independent contractors can't refuse to hire someone because of their immigration status or if they're an illegal alien. If they do, it will prevent them from attaining contracts with Mayor Sherrell Parker's home plan. That means if they hire them, they can't hire you. And if they hire you, you can't get a fair wage because that illegal alien would do it for cheaper. When you fight for illegal aliens, you fight against yourself. Why would I want to sign up for a plan that would take 20 plus years to pay back the principal and interest? 1.26 billion off of 800 million paid back. You look at me crazy for wearing a MAGA hat. I look at you crazy for allowing this mayor and the city council to raise your wage tax, property tax, the business income tax, realty transfer tax, sales tax, soda tax, hotel tax, parking tax, tax. Nowhere in the United States Constitution or the Pennsylvania State Constitution does it say government is responsible for providing housing. Maybe if Senator Dave McCormick challenged Ms. Taxum to Death Parker on free markets and capitalism, instead of eating cheesesteaks and passing out free food, we wouldn't have this problem. John Allante McAuley for PA GOP State Committee. Stacey Garrity for Governor.
Ralph, that was one of the ones you were talking about, correct?
Yeah, he's a trip, isn't he?
Yes. So.
And I got to tell you, you know, well, you know this, Jake. I mean, the Republican Party has been invisible in Philadelphia. They've completely deserted the city. So, you know, just the fact that there's a Republican person in the city council chambers is, you know, a startling development. But to have such a bold guy like this, you know, it's a lot of fun for those of us who usually fall asleep during city council meetings.
Well, we did have a Republican in name only for some time, and literally you never heard, you know, he was just there because I think you had to have one.
Yeah.
It's almost like the planned Virginia redistricting map.
Yes, exactly right. So yeah, that's absolutely hilarious. By the way, did you catch Larry Krasner's press conference at all? Because
I did not, and I was going to get in touch with you because I was on my way here, and I was going to get in touch with you to see if you were there, if you caught it.
I just watched it on the Facebook page, but he was going off on Jim Jordan, accusing him of you know, knowing about sexual molestation of the OSU wrestlers while he was an assistant coach there. And he just he accused him of covering up for Trump and Epstein. It was the usual Larry Krasner comedy act. So we can expect his full cooperation. He's been asked to supply all those documents regarding all the immigration cases he's fixed for illegal aliens. So he's, you know, he wants a hearing too. He wants a public hearing. He wants to turn it into a public hearing. So
what my problem with Jim Jordan is not the wrestling stuff. I think that's already been debunked a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And is the problem I have with him is why haven't the judiciary going after this guy? There should be criminal referrals for this guy. This guy, everyone knows this guy is committing criminal acts. He goes, I think Trump doesn't want to give him the time of day to even give him any oxygen because he knows he's an idiot. But I want to see this guy in jail because he belongs in jail.
That is where he belongs. I got to say that Larry's doing his best to elevate himself as a target. You know, he called Trump a wannabe dictator again today and a fascist. And he said his immigration policies were reminiscent of 1930s Germany. So he covered all the bases. So
I'm waiting for him. I mean, we know he doesn't have any problem with arresting law enforcement officers. I'm really waiting. Maybe it's going to take for him to prosecute a masked ICE agent. Maybe the hammer will fall then, because we all know that he's a part of a multi-million-dollar theft with these phony exonerations, which will be coming out soon. Coming soon, viewers. Trust me when I tell you. Larry's been trying to get rid of me for years. He just put me on the Giglio. I don't know if I told you this, Ralph. You put me on the Giglio list?
Yeah, you did.
Giglio list?
Yeah.
So it's all because he knows I got the goods on him. And I'm waiting for these Department of Justice officials who know of this guy. You know, you talk about Republicans. You know, all the Republicans who contacted me with this impeachment nonsense and all this stuff, so they do nothing.
Oh, God.
So it's definitely a breath of fresh air for our next guest.
Is he with us yet? Or
He's not with us yet, but
where is that guy? Yeah. By the way, Jake, I wanted to ask you, do you think Larry's crazy enough to arrest an ICE agent for wearing a mask?
I think, as I told everyone, Larry wanted to be George Floyd in Philadelphia before George Floyd. He wanted the riots. I think Larry will do anything to make him seem like he's the big man on campus. Everybody realizes he's an imbecile. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, but he actually comes off as the dumbest guy in the room. You know, Ralph, you see it. You see it in all the presses. You talk about John going to these city council meetings. You look at your impotent journalists in that meeting that you go to when you go to him. Every time he comes up, and I had it. I wish I didn't take it down. Every time you go there, he comes up with this long speech and never answers your question. And I keep telling you, the reason he can't answer any of your questions is because he would incriminate himself. You know, he screwed up with Bologna.
He sure screwed that.
He screwed that pooch.
Mm-hmm.
He screwed up with Pinnell. And I really don't understand the Beth thing. I mean, hopefully, I'm so glad that someone with balls came in. Not talking, even though John just joined us. I'm so glad that someone with balls came in. Before I bring John up, I want him to. Well, let me bring John up. How you doing, John?
Good. How you feeling, sir?
I'm doing okay.
Sorry for being late.
No, you're fine. Listen, you're working, and we had to get you in here this week because we know that vote is coming up next week. And I want to play this video very quickly of the city of Philadelphia trying to stop the Flip Philly Red candidates by violating their First Amendment rights by kicking them out. I'm sure you remember this well. Here you go.
Good morning, everybody. My name is William Small, candidate for U.S. Congress in Pennsylvania's 3rd District. Today, I stand here in opposition in every bill, ordinance in this agenda, but not out of disrespect, out of principle. I know everybody heard what Mayor Cheryl Parker said this weekend. How dare you? She called out 1.8 million people in Philadelphia. She doesn't think she's the mayor. She thinks she's the damn queen.
Excuse me, sir. Could you speak on
tax after tax?
Sir, could you speak on the bill?
Tax
speak on the bill.
At the tax.
Which specific bill are you speaking on?
We're the highest tax city in the United States.
Okay.
Schools are not producing one.
Excuse me, sir. We understand you running for office. If you could speak on the bill, you okay. Right now, you can. Have a good day, sir. Me too, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Could you please call the next speaker, please?
We have John McAuley, Stephen Bronskill, Lisa Volta-Zaloom, David Alexander Jenkins, Jackie Zanieri, Lynn Landis, and Robert Archanack.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Allante McAuley. I'm with a grassroots organization called Flip Philly Red. We're here to offer you something different because you've been voting Democrat for the mayor's office for the past 70 years. In regard to these ICE out bills, they have statistics coming out of the country of Sweden that says because of their open border policies, that 1 out of every 4 women can be expected to be raped. These are things that I think as city council make it difficult for ICE to find.
Listen up, everyone.
I need time back.
Listen
on the
up.
clock.
Listen up. Listen
I need
up.
my minute back.
Listen up.
No, I need my minute back. No. They
Listen
interrupted
up.
me. I need my minute back.
Excuse me, sir. I'm actually running this, so let me handle
Are
this how
you?
let me handle this how I need to handle this.
Thank you.
You know what then? Call on the next speaker, please.
How you gonna do that?
Call on the next speaker, please.
Stephen Bronskill.
Oh, well, John, it seems like you and Mr. Smalls got kicked out of the meeting by someone who endorsed the candidate running against Mr. Small. And obviously he's a Democrat, so he doesn't really want the other black Republican to speak either. So how about you speaking on search warrant, give us everything and don't hold nothing back. I kind of like the double-barreled approach.
Right. I appreciate that. Well, it's been, I'm sure Ralph had told you about what's been going on, and it's been a chess match since day one. They never thought that somebody that looks like me or William would actually show up, know what we know. And I crack a joke all the time that we're not your Carlton Banks guys coming in there speaking. You know, we have a history. We walked where you walk. We went to the same schools. We've been to the same neighborhoods. But I have knowledge. Either you don't have it, and you know you're not smart as you think you are, or you're corrupt, you're a little bit of both. I don't know. But either way, we can hang with you guys, and we're gonna come and we're gonna let the world know what the truth is. So it's been a chess match going back and forth. You know, they've tried to cut my mic, they have widened the screen so people couldn't get a lock in on what I look like. They put their boo crowd in there. They've done a lot of different things to try to stop me, but none of it works.
How about kicking you out, escorting you out? Yeah.
They
Hey, I want to
escorted
read.
me out. They said I what I've said has been hate speech.
Yeah.
You know, they try to and so if you don't know your rights, if you don't know your constitutional rights, you can. So when I yell back at them, I know it's my First Amendment right. They, you know, there's so much they can do, but you need to know, you know, what your rights are, you know, what they can do and what they can't do.
They're always cutting your mic, and I want to read every time Kenyatta Johnson does that, he's violating the official rules for the government of the Council of the City of Philadelphia. And that calls for giving speakers 3 minutes of airtime. And then it says, quote, the microphone, this is in bold print, shall remain open at all times. So all persons participating may be heard by the members of the committee, the public, the media, and the recording stenographer, unquote. So every time he does that, he's, you know, every time he cuts his mic on you or Mr. Smalls, he's violating his own rules, which I think is, you know, shows what a hypocrite he is.
Right. No, for sure. I tell people if I can get my speech off, if I get, you know, he cuts it down to 2 minutes. Sometimes it's been 1 minute. Great. You know, of course, I always want to get the message out. If it's cut and, you know, he wants the theater, he wants the show, that's bad PR from him. You're going to get hundreds of thousands of people, you know, on your case about it. And I saw his communications director this morning. You know, every time that I was down there just doing a small press conference down there calling out Larry Krasner and his alleged involvement of either dropping charges for illegal aliens or just pretty much not charging them at all so they can evade ICE. And so I saw them down there at City Hall. They always speak to me though.
Jake, you cut it at any time, but Allante.
Well, you know, he just brought up my favorite guy, but other than
John, do you want to be called Allante or John? Which one is it?
Allante is fine for me.
Yeah. Okay. Allante, then what's it like walking into that nut house, the city council chambers, where everyone is a left-wing lunatic? Don't you feel like you're the only sane person in there?
Oh, for sure. It's very demonic. Like, because my first time I ever went, I was standing up because it was so packed, and they was talking about a resolution. It was Councilwoman Jamie Guthier's resolution H1, if I can remember correct, HR 7147. I still remember because it was my first one, so I still remember what they were talking about. But it was so packed in there. They wanted to stop Senator McCormick and Senator Fetterman from John Fetterman, Fetterman from funding ICE. And so I was standing up in the back, and this is my first time in there. I'm seeing how packed it was, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is a show. And, you know, it's hundreds of people in there. They have LGBTQ plus preachers there every morning or some type of demonic preacher there talking trash about Republicans, this, you know, and talking about their fight for, their alphabet community. This is before they even pray over everybody, before they even, so it's a show. They give out a bunch of awards, a bunch of pats on the back for good work they think they are doing, even though we got a $300 million school deficit. You got 400, 500 murders every single year. You got taxes coming out the UWAP. And so you have all of these issues, but they're in there having a BET award show every Thursday. And it's a lot of slave mentality talk. They still think that we're oppressed. You start seeing how they're able to keep control over the black community, especially. I mean, you got your white liberals, and you can't save them. They're too far gone. But for the black people who you just see how the system is put in place to keep us where we're at.
Well, John, that was one of your most favorite. Me and Ralph talk about it all the time. One of the worst presidents besides Obama and Biden in at least modern history is LBJ. Yeah. And that's the one who started this rocket ship, the architect of assassination, you should call him, because once he killed all them people in the 60s, then he told you what he was going to do. Y'all, he told you how stupid you are, and y'all prove how stupid you are. He called you ignorant. He said he's going to have, I know the words you used. I'm not sure if I can use it on this platform. I normally say it when we're in different setting, but he called y'all ignorant to your face.
Yeah.
He said he's going to have y'all ignorant people voting this way, and you still vote this way. When you go into
200 years.
200 years. Well, it might be longer because I didn't know we could get this stuff. I didn't know, when you go into that place, and you're right, for the first hour or so, they're patting each other on the back. They're saying this, they're saying that. The Working Families Party, Gauthier terrible.
She's
federally indicted council president, kicking you out of they call it the people's house. And I like when you said that about LBJ. The ladies told you, you can say transgender, but you can't say that word. I know what the definition of that word is. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the definition of transgender is, because it's only two genders, and I don't think you can transition. So, what I want to talk to you about is you're running for the PA State GOP thing, but your own GOP is against you. And I've had some dealings with them promising you things and not delivering. How is that affecting you with your own party? Don't want to see this black GOP representative.
My whole entire race. And we've been kind of fighting before I even decided to run for PA GOP state committee. I mean, I'm more highlighted now. Like, I picked up recognition across social media nationally now. So I guess people, they think it's a new fight, but I came involved in politics in 2024. I actually started fighting them in 2025, the off year. And because Vince Finnerty, the current chairman of the Philly GOP, he did a lot of different things, but the icing on the cake that made me go to war, I guess, quote unquote, was when he told Philadelphia Republicans last year to vote for Democrat judges. And this was on his sample ballot. I'm not, you can go, I can give you the sample ballot. He put out the official GOP sample ballot, and at the bottom of it, it says, vote yes to retention for all Philadelphia judges. We had no GOP judges last year locally. The challenge in the Court of Common Pleas, we didn't have anything on the municipal level. And then last year was the big statewide push to vote no to retention for the Pennsylvania Supreme Court justices. So if you're a Jane Main Street, and you're the type of just vote party line, if you're looking at that official ballot and it says vote yes for all Philadelphia judges, you're going to go in there and hit Democrat straight down the line. And then you're also going to vote yes to the Supreme Court justices that we were trying to vote no to. And he thought that we were focusing way too much attention on these judicial races and not enough attention on Democrat Judge Pat Dugan trying to defeat Larry Krasner, and we can have that discussion for another day. But so to your point, I have not brought race into this of why he doesn't support me, because I can point to a whole lot of other facts of why he's incompetent and why he's corrupt as well. I didn't have to use that, and because I can't prove that, I don't know that for a fact if that is a key factor why he don't support me at all. I'm not at this point. I'm trying to my very best to get him out because he's not good at his job. If you think this is a good job what he's been doing, I've never had a Republican knock on my door. You know, I've never seen Republicans hold an event in a lot of these neighborhoods, community events. So when you got Larry Krasner who keeps getting elected, now we have to have some accountability too in our community of why, for a lack of knowledge. But when they're not used to seeing Republicans, when they're not used to hearing a GOP message, when they don't see you in your neighborhood, how can you expect them to vote differently? All they know is one message. All they know is one thing. So if we're painted as the big bad racist, the evil empire, what messaging are you doing to combat that? And he's cut deals to get candidates to not run in certain districts in order to protect certain incumbent seats here in Philadelphia. So yeah, I mean, how I feel about it, I'm fine. I've always been a natural leader. People follow the truth. I'm so real about my past. And I think for the first time in a long time, people are inspired and motivated. It feels like finally Philly is fighting.
Well, when I say black, what I actually mean is because in order to get the Republicans, get more black people in Philadelphia, because in order for you to do that, someone that looks like you, who's speaking the way you speak, and understand and speaking real, for lack of a better word, then why not have someone who can, let's say, communicate? Like you said, they never knocked on my door either. Right. I live in the 3rd congressional district. Why aren't they standing behind Mr. Smalls? I think when you had the conversation, I would do what he's doing at this point, but I can't because I got too much other stuff going on. And why half-ass it? So right. But why not have Mr. Smalls get those write-in votes that he needs? Why is he not doing that? You're going up against Sharif Street. Why is that? Why is that an issue? Sharif Street never did anything, and I watched how Krasner got in there. They stabbed Beth Grossman. They didn't do anything for Beth Grossman while they let Larry dilute the vote on the Democratic side. That's how we got in. Everybody sold Beth Grossman out. And I talked to Beth like a couple of days before it even happened. So I think that's what they're going to do to you guys. I'm not sure. I know who like I said, tell Mr. Smalls, I live in the 3rd congressional district, so he'll get my write-in vote.
Thank you.
You already got, and I'm a registered Republican, so it doesn't make
awesome. Beautiful.
So that's my point with that. How do we get the message out? I don't care whether you're white or black. If you're a white guy sitting in here communicating and giving the right message out there, that's all fine, all well and good, But you don't have too many people that look like us in the Republican Party fighting the 3,700 and something murders that Larry Krasner inflicted upon us. Who fought for that? Is Kenyatta Johnson fighting for that? Is your boy Finnerty fighting for that?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me.
To your question, I think we've tried to build Flip Philly Red. That's the grassroots organization that I'm with. And I said, okay, we could do two things because there's multiple battles in this big war. It's a lot of different battles going on. And said I could try to take over the Philly GOP, infiltrate it, get in there, and put real constitutional representatives, real patriots in there, people who got good hearts and good minds, and get them in there. At the same time, while I'm doing that, we can build our own thing so we're not waiting, because it's going to take years. People want instant gratification and instant change. They have power, he's gotten people patrioting in jobs. He's hooked a lot of people up to where these ward leaders and these committee members won't vote him out because he's, helped them some way in life, whether it be through money or be through a job. So it's going to take a long time to figure out who's who, right? And so what we've been trying to do on Flip Philly Red is it's all about messaging and education for us. And we do that through a lot of different ways. The things that I chastise the Philly GOP about, I never wanted to be the person who's criticizing but not offering solutions or not walking the walk. So I said, I'm gonna have town halls in these communities. We just did a flag wave town hall voter registration in North Philadelphia. We went right into the Lions Den. We just had Chicago Flips Red come to Philadelphia on this past April 27th. I went to my barbershop, my barber who's been cutting me since I was 15 years old. He let me, all the time I want to do something, he let me come in there, hold events. Last year, I had judicial candidates come down they was running for the Commonwealth Court, the Superior Court. Black people, it's one of two things. We're either going in there voting Democrat straight down the line, or we're low propensity voters and we don't vote at all. And so I've had people who are not even they're not informed. They were in this barbershop last year listening to people that was running for judge. They said they've never had that happen on either side of the line, whether you're Republican or Democrat. How many people running for judge come talk to you about what the Commonwealth Court is about, what the Superior Court is about? So we do town halls, explaining about, just whether it's a national situation, statewide, or whether it's a local situation, because messaging is everything, the propaganda machine with the news. So when I talk about a Republican presence, that's why we do flag waves, because we wanted to normalize you seeing MAGA attire, whether it be hats, the gear, or whatever, somebody waving American flag. Why is that looked at as crazy in Philadelphia? Because you love your country. So, I want to normalize it to when you see Republicans. So, you know what? When you're ready to go down that rabbit hole and search for the truth, you can feel a little bit more encouraged. Like, let me see what they got to say over there. And we did a voter registration. We was able to flip 7 people on April 27th over to become Republican. And so this was male, black male, and female, because they heard what we had to say and they was impressed by it, And so I'm like, okay, so we're doing that. We're not waiting, for people, for the Philly GOP to get on board. We're not waiting on the state levels either. We realized nobody was coming to save us. So we're building our infrastructure in real time. We're looking for our own committee people, our own ward leaders, our own candidates that want to run and speak about the America First agenda. And that's what we're doing.
Allante, I got to say that they have no response to you. I mean, they're not there to debate you on any of the issues. When you were talking about Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood, there was no response to that. Their only response was to cut your mic. So,
right.
And this whole white savior thing drives me freaking nuts. I mean, what do we need?
Right.
You guys can address this better than I can, but why on earth do blacks in 2026 need a white savior for? Like Larry Kramer. Well, that drives me insane. Jake?
It's all of it. It's all of it. Like, you have the problem in Philadelphia, and I talk about so much, and I only got 2 minutes when I go in there, right? So I'm trying to make every line count. I want to get facts, information, but then, yes, I am going to hit you something that might be of a little shock value, but it's real. Like when I went in there and said, LBJ said, I'm going to have you voting for the, Democrat for the next 200 years. I knew that was the line that was going to make that whole thing go viral. It was a trigger. But I'm in there talking about tenants and squatter rights and how they use eminent domain and how they use squatter rights and all of this stuff, property taxes to get people out of their homes. And I'm tying it to communism. So I'm trying to educate them in 2 minutes, and then boom, this is the wake up line is going to be like, did he really just say that? I talked about Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood and connected that to Jamie Gutierrez because she is a Marxist and she's the most craziest woman on city council. And so while I'm talking about her trashing her act bill,
you got Kendra Brooks. You got a bunch of them crazy.
Yeah. There's a bunch of crazy ones on there, but some of these people are just on another level. Mm-hmm. So did I think people was really going to care about Jamie Guthier stop trashing our air act? No. But I was able to tie it into her broader policies or beliefs. You know, you can't say you care about children's air when you're pro abortion. Like you want to, you're fine with the babies not making it out the womb, but you want to tell me you care about their air quality. You're fine with puberty blockers and hormones going to these children. No, 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 no. You're a walking contradiction. And so I had to, and they suppress speech in there. One of the ways that Kiana Johnson does this is he keeps it strictly to agenda items. So you can't, speak. You can't just go in there
Sound like
and just
Larry
talk
Krasner,
about.
don't he, Ralph?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just go in there and just speak about what you want. So I
Right.
had to find a creative way to broaden what their beliefs is and tie it to what they have on that agenda item. And I've been successful at doing that.
Well,
Very
you know
successful.
what's funny is that the white liberal women and men who were there and the transgender folk who all attached to the oppressions of black people,
Right.
Yeah.
they was the ones, as the black person was speaking and trying to get his 2 minutes out, they was the ones that was shouting the black man down in the back with their ice out signs in there.
Yeah.
When you spoke on the train, they're the ones saying, "Shut up,
Yeah.
LBJ, word."
Yeah. 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 They lose their minds when they see me in there. They be like the girls with the purple hair and the
Yes.
older women that's with their pro-abortion and
Yes.
stuff. They lose their mind. I can't believe this blackie came in here with his MAGA hat on. How dare you try to get off the plantation? And so I love it. It's fine.
I know when you go home and you look at the video of yourself and you see the people behind you, the way they're staring at you, like, are you kidding me? Because you can't say why you give your message.
Right.
but when you go back and watch the video, you're like, wow. And that's,
Right.
I think you even hit a nerve with Kenyatta, because when you talked about the LBJ comment or the Margaret Sanger comment, when he kicked you out at the end, I didn't play it because I didn't know if it was stalling over here because I'm remote right now.
Mhm.
He said, "Let that go viral."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you hit a
they've been
nerve
watching
with
me.
him.
Oh, they
Yes.
not just that. Yeah, right. So they've been watching my page. And I had proof of that the last time that I was there last week. Councilwoman Catherine Gilmore Richardson. She might be the majority whip. I'm not 100% sure about that one. It might be either her or Isaiah Thomas. But I know she does have a high ranking on the council. And so when I said the LBJ line, she was the one that was actually up there in Kiana Johnson's place. But she walked up to me that morning right before the meeting started. And she said she didn't appreciate the way I had worded one of the clips that I put up. And it was not of me, actually. It was of a guy named Mike Folty, I believe. He's from Bucks County, but he came to speak at our city council. I think he's like on some type of tour, just going to these Democrat city councils and just laying it on them. Like, he went viral. He did like 8 million views on one of these videos before. And so he got to the point of his speech where he did go over his time. And so I would get to that. So he was talking about Jesus. And Catherine Gilmore Richardson, she didn't say cut his mic, but she looked over to, the people or whatever, and they end up cutting them. So what I told her was, I said, you're correct. You did not verbally say cut his microphone. And he did go 12 seconds over his time. The problem that I had with, when you guys like what somebody is saying up there, you let them go over that time. When you don't like what they're saying, you either cut their mic or you don't give them a few extra seconds to finish their speech. And that's the inconsistency problem that I have. So, but her saying that lets me know that you guys are having meetings about me. You guys are watching my page. Whether you have your under people, your I forget what you call them, but you have your guys watching. You're watching me. Fine. Okay, mission accomplished.
You're a threat to their corruption.
Absolutely.
I clocked when they like a speaker, if the time limit is 1 minute, they'll let them go to 2 minutes or 3 minutes if they like what they're saying. It's so blatant. Allante, I just have to ask you, Gauthier is one story. But this Brian O'Neill cat, I got to ask you, is he really a Republican? He's the most invisible, innocuous little hamster in the place. What's the story with that guy? Do you know anything?
If he's even there, like no, like he's not there to fight, and I don't
No.
get on anybody about their age or nothing, but he's not in there looking to change life.
No.
Most of the time when they're introducing new legislation, new bills to read, he barely has any to put forth. He hasn't come over to and introduce himself to me. He hasn't been welcoming. He knows I'm in there, like I'm sitting right behind him every single time. But he's part of the Philly GOP. These guys have no interest in winning back Philadelphia. They have no interest in seeing better outcomes. Whatever deals that they cut, whatever money that they get, whatever jobs that they're offered, they're fine with that. Second place pays just as well as first for them.
Allante, I got to ask you, when you're talking to, when you're up in North Philly and you're talking to fellow blacks,
Yeah.
the Republican message is so much more uplifting than being told you're a second-class citizen and you need. How do you bust through on that? What's your technique?
Oh boy! Before we can even talk about policy or things that truly matters, the conversation is always about race because the left has done a great job. The Philadelphia Inquirer, the news station, CNN, MSNBC, and on national level, they spend billions of dollars on messaging, and we don't. So I have to talk about why President Trump is not racist, why this and that. I have to shoot down so much before I can even talk about manufacturing jobs coming back here, about why socialism is not good. Why you shouldn't just accept every tax that they're trying to impose on us. Before I can talk about the meat and potatoes stuff, I have to spend time recorrecting history. I got to talk about who fought for our 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. I got to talk about it was a Republican president, Ulysses S. Grant, that gave us the Enforcement Acts because the Ku Klux Klan was threatening our right to.
Oh, don't tell me we lost him. No, just when he was cooking, too.
I hit my Ulysses report hat and he went off.
Yeah, he was really on a roll too, as he often is.
He looked like he's trying to come back.
You think the Dems got him?
If they haven't got him, they're going to definitely they're going to do their best to get him. I mean, he's literally upsetting their apple cart right now.
And they have no idea what to do with him. He's fearless. He usually often wears that red MAGA hat, and he's like the worst nightmare. He's always, my favorite is the way he refers to the mayor. He calls her comrade, Mayor Parker.
Yes.
Hey, I'm back, guys.
I thought because I hit my Ulysses report hat when you was talking about Ulysses S. Grant. That they kick you off. Ralph wanted to know if they got you. So finish, John.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah, somebody was giving me a call, but yeah. So, I have to talk about Ulysses S. Grant with that. I have to talk about who really fought for our civil rights. The 1964, our civil rights. It wasn't the Democrats, and tell them that it was a Democrat senator that gave the longest filibuster ever opposing our civil rights. I got to talk about why the Great Society Act wasn't good. I got to talk about how the parties never switched. They always talk about the party switch. The Democrats just got found giving $3 million to the Southern Poverty Law Center to the Ku Klux Klan. They gave the Southern Poverty Law Center was the ones that gave $3 million plus to the Ku Klux Klan and all these other crazy people that try to still fake this racism thing that's going on. So before I could talk about anything like that, I always go through that little speech. And then if you're not emotional, if you have good discernment and you have good common sense, we could get to the meat and potatoes. If you're not emotional, we can have a grown person conversation. And I can tell you why, you don't got to love Trump. I like Trump. I'm not going in there trying to convince people to love Trump. I'm talking about the policies for which this party stands for. I don't believe in 72 genders. I don't believe a man could be a woman. Before we can even talk about terrorists or anything else, we need to come to that agreement first. Because if we can't agree on that, you're not gonna get anything else that I'm talking about. And if you're a man, like I'm a man, this is straightforward common sense to you, you know. And so that's my approach, and that's how I attack it.
That must be
Well,
exhausting. Must be
It is.
exhausting.
You know the problem,
Yeah.
Allante, is that they've never changed the art of war. You know, they've always been good with the messaging. You know,
Yeah.
the Civil War, it was Republicans, not the Democrats. You know, the Democrats was the people getting the information from us that we were learning in churches and then go burn down the churches that you learned in when they put the mask on. It's the
Right.
same thing when you talk about the SPLC. You know, they're telling you everybody who's racist, but they're funding the racists until you get caught. So, and like you said, when you go talk to someone and you say, he goes, well, I'm a he, him, or I'm a she, her. It's going to be hard to get that Democrat to become a Republican. So,
And where's the black clergy in all this?
Oh, you the
they're
perfect
part of
question.
that. Yeah, they're part
I
of
was
the game.
going there. I was
They
going
part-
there.
That's
Go
not
right
one of
there.
the. That's
You have
not
a
one of the
point.
KKK and the churches. That's how they. That's the main culprit. Go ahead, John. I'll let
No.
you.
That's perfect. I swear the next words out my mouth was talking about this black church, and Ralph was right on it. We on the same
Mhm.
page. And I said, why the black community continues to vote the same way? I left my church in 2024, the
Oh,
summer of
that's-
2024.
Oh, that's
Uh, Yeah, Enon Tabernacle was my church. Pastor Wilder was the one who baptized me before they even came over here. When they was on
I
West
got a
Coulter
story
Street.
about Robbie Wilder. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. On Sheldon
Yeah.
Avenue. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. So when they was on West Coulter, the small church, before they became
Mhm.
this mega church, he was the one that baptized me when I was young. So we came over here. I actually live behind the church, actually, right now, the big one, the one over here in Mount Airy.
Mhm.
And so when my life was changing in 2024, I was finding myself as a man, you know, where I wanted to go. I started going back to church. I was going by myself. And he's one of the most brilliant people I've ever heard speak. He's one of the most talented people I've ever heard speak. I won't take that away from him. But when I was learning, I was crash coursing that year. I'm always crash coursing. I'm always still learning from great patriots like you guys. And so when I was learning about who Margaret Sanger was, Planned Parenthood, she, you know, and her goal to exterminate the black community was to get black women to abort their babies. And she said, if somebody like me, a rebellious young man, got wind of what she was trying to do, she would use the charismatic black preacher to get somebody like me in line. And so when I look at my pastor, I'm like, well, he's charismatic. He's talented. And then when I look at 92% of black women, how they only vote one way, and for them, they single issue voters, most of them. They're voting for their ability to be able to murder babies. And if you're a pastor and you're not in there correcting that, you're not telling them, first of all, that's not even a thing. It shouldn't have been a thing, an issue in 2024 because it got returned to the states. We don't have full control of the General Assembly. We only have control of the state Senate, not the House anymore. So we're not even going to be able to get that ban if we wanted to get that ban. And here in Pennsylvania, you could already murder babies up to 24 weeks. So if 24, so what I'm trying to say, it wasn't even an issue. But if it was an issue, you as a pastor from a biblical standpoint are supposed to tell these women that this is wrong and this is demonic. He didn't do that. He will also throw other indirect shots, at President Trump, at the MAGA movement. I said, you're part of the indoctrination problem. You're the reason why our communities, are the way they are, why we're ignorant, why we lead in obesity, why we lead in all the worst statistical categories, whether it be single motherhood, whether it be divorce, whether it be our men in jail. All the worst statistical categories we lead in. You want to blame the white man. It's not the white man's fault why we got 35% proficiency reading levels. It's not the white man's fault why we got 25% mathematic levels. You're in there indoctrinating. You're teaching them that the land was stolen. There is no stolen land. Either it was purchased or it was conquered. So I'm sorry I'm long-winded, but this is why I had to leave my church.
I said from the beginning, we need both barrels, bro.
Right. So Ralph has heard me say this on plenty of platforms that I've never been a slave. I've never been through segregation. I've never seen Jim Crow. I've never been denied eating in a restaurant. I've never been denied a loan. why does that have to be my identity? Sure, you should know history. That's fine. But we spend so much of our time trying to relate to something that we can't relate to. We grew up with this anger, and so we don't respect authority. We don't have respect for school. You know, we put it now to where if you listen to a single mom talk, she will say that a teacher bet not say nothing to her child. I'm going up to the school to act a fool. That's normalized in our community for women to talk ghetto like that. You mean to tell me your child was acting up? Your teacher tried to instill some discipline. You didn't like the discipline, so you're going up to the school to act a fool to cuss the teacher out. This makes sense in our community's minds. When I've been on SEPTA lately, because I don't have a car anymore, so I've been on SEPTA. I ain't been on SEPTA in years, so I ain't know how bad it got. But you have 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds smoking marijuana on SEPTA trains. Like they're just rolling up blunts where grown people are trying to get from work to home, home to work. Kids are trying to go to school, get back and forth. You smell it. And you see the stench of homelessnesses and mental health issues on these SEPTA trains, violence, assaults, rapes, and murders. And we want to keep giving them 400 millionaire, another 300 millionaire just to stay afloat. This is a money laundering scheme. And so at these town halls, we try to give the conservative policy and conservative ideology, because I truly believe that would give Black people especially the best chance at equality of life. So Ralph, yes, it is very it could become taxing, but that's why I eat the way I eat. That's why I stay in the gym, and that's why I stay prayed up, because it's a war.
It is a war. And who are Larry Krasner's biggest supporters? The Black clergy. When he goes to have a meeting on the road at town hall, he always goes to a Black church. I mean, he's
been associated with Robert Waller.
Yeah,
Pastor Waller.
Yeah, because they don't want too many Black men. You know, we're over in, you know, it's like if you were just going to work, doing what you need to be doing, you don't have to worry about police officers. You know, when I go to different counties, you know, you see back the blue signs. It's just a respect for police, somebody that's in uniform, whether they're military, whether they're police. We don't celebrate our police here. Even on the Philly GOP side, I'm like, all right, if you're not going to at least fight the Democrats, at least support our police officers, bro. And,
well,
I'm down here right now. Don't even do that.
I'm down here right now. That, you know, part of the reason it's the 25th anniversary of 9/11, as I was telling Rob before you got here, and I'm down here now at Police Week, and you know, and it brought back a Robert Waller story that you just mentioned him. I was searching for, I had his nephew was the target. Him and another guy was the target. And the people who were shooting at him, obviously they missed, because they normally do, because they're not accurate. They just spraying bullets down there. Right. And they shot a 69-year-old man and they killed an 81-year-old man. And I was charged with that case. And he literally, that murderer, he ended up getting off, unfortunately. But he hid his nephew from me twice, so I couldn't bring that case home. And I had to trade. First he sent them down to Georgia. I tracked him to Georgia, brought him back. You talk about judges. People don't realize how close to home it needs to be. The judge, for some reason, after giving me a material witness petition, once I brought him back, he let him out again. Please come back this time. And what did he do again? He shipped him off somewhere else to get away. So I lost respect for him big time after that. But unfortunately, my police commissioner was also going to that church at the time, which you very well know, probably if you were there. Richie Ross was going. A lot of cops attend that church. So, but when you let an 81-year-old man as a pastor literally get his head blown off, because that's what happened, and you hide people involved just because it's your nephew. He lived right out there on Walloon, out down the bottom. So, but you know, it is a mentality with us. Rather, like at some point, you had to notice when I went to school, you had that heavy book bag with them textbooks where you barely could walk down the street. Right. Parents had to know. We went from that to the kids not coming home with any books to now you got mothers threatening the teachers. And we expect our community to prosper. I don't know how we do that, still voting the way we vote. And I know we need to talk before we go. We need to talk about May 19th with you and
Yeah.
Mr. Smalls
Yeah.
and how we need those votes.
Well, for sure. Well, I'm gonna start with Will. Like, it is we get him on the ballot. This is a whole different ball game now. We get him on the summer is going to be a whole different type of summer because now they're going to really feel like they have true opposition. And so please, I want to tell everybody to write in William Small. We're learning in real time. We're crash coursing from great patriots like you guys. And I just heard Senator Sharif Street, like I said, he's for gender affirming care. I could talk about a lot. I just see, but that was the most recent. He said, I fought for that. I'm like, you fought for that? Like you proud to say that is a man. You know what I mean? Like it's just and black people will hear this. And I'm singling them out because that's his base, his heavy supporters, and that sounds normal to them. The abused children. So okay. For me, my race is not a lawmaker's race, but it's a race of influence. And if you're wondering why on a GOP level statewide, why we don't ever have great candidates, it's not that the Democrats produce better candidates than us. It's that we have no attention on winning, right? We have no attention on having a farm system, candidates that know the issues, or that because they avoid getting a Brian Fitzpatrick, to avoid another Mitch McConnell. In order to avoid this, you need a farm system. They need to know what the issues are and offer solutions based on that, not surface level Republican talking points. Right now they have a Republican on the ticket. They're running. I won't even say what race. I won't say the name, but I'm just looking from afar. And they're saying that, they want universal health care. They want immigration or deportations with dignity. They're willing to give more money to the Philadelphia school district, the money learning screen that's in. So you're supposed to be a conservative Republican. And these are your talking point. And this is an endorsed candidate by the Philly GOP. I'm not supposed to say nothing because that's infighting. Okay. If they get me on state committee, this is why they want to keep me out of there because I'm not a zombie vote. I'm not going in there saying, okay, he wants to be a Republican. He wants to run because he wants to be successful. Blah, blah, blah. Do you know the issues? Do you know the Constitution? Are you America first, Pennsylvania first, whatever district or county that you're running in? I need you to be a fighter. Don't walk the middle of the line. I don't want yes men. And so I'm a threat to their power that they're trying to keep control of. They don't want change. They're not in it looking for that. So May 19th, I need people to come out. If you want a better ran organization, then I am the guy that you want on PA GOP State Committee.
It couldn't be worse, Ron. They're invisible. You put them back on the map. Single-handedly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well done.
All glory to the Lord.
Amen to that too. Jake?
And win, lose, or draw on May 19th, we got to continue this fight.
Oh yeah, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at what if I lose. You're gonna still see me out here fighting.
I was about to say you get more than 2 minutes on search warrant.
Awesome.
And when you get your podcast, and I'm sure one is probably coming at some point, I'll come on. Hopefully, I'm done my fight with Mr. Krasner, but yes, I got to continue to take him down. And I might need you guys' help because the people we have in the GOP, no party in Philadelphia,
worthless. They're worthless.
They're worthless. The newspapers, the black clergy. I mean, he has all those speeches in churches. When you have over 3,000 people, I was a homicide detective, so I know how the rate skyrocketed. So you got this white savior killing y'all by the hundreds and preaching in your church and blaming it on the pandemic. Right. It's always somebody else's fault because he's speaking to stupid people.
Yeah.
And like I said, I got to go back to the point. If nothing was more telling when you had a bunch of white liberals with ice out signs and transgender signs screaming you down, telling you that you're not allowed to speak. And then you had, as a result of that,
hate speech.
You had, yes. Then you had Kenyatta kick him out after just kicking
Mr.
William
Sloan.
out.
Yeah.
So, and then he has the nerves to say, I'm for free speech. How are you for free speech when you just violated free speech?
The people's house, right? It's the people's house.
I gotta give Cindy Bass a little credit. She handled the situation with you better than he did.
Yeah, she did.
At least she allowed you to finish when she said no hate speech. I didn't hear the hate speech, but I played that video before you got here because I wanted to let everybody know what they were walking into.
Videos are great. Videos are awesome.
And I'm going to put them out there. I'm going to put this out there. And anything else you want to say? And we can come back in a couple of weeks and see how you did next week. I wanted to get you on this week because I wanted to get you here before the 19th. And next week is the 20th, and that was a day late, and I didn't want to do it a day late. So
thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And the only other fighter that we, I guess we could call ourselves the Philadelphia Fighters because this is the only guy I trust. Before I met you, Allante, I'm telling you, I went to one person. I don't know how many years is that now, bro. Jesus Christ!
Wow, you're going to date both of us, Jake.
Jesus Christ! Okay, so anything else, John? Before we go?
No, I would definitely love to come back on anytime.
Oh, you're going to be invited many times because we're going to keep this. We're not going to let this train stop rolling because now that you're in the den, it's time to eat. Time to eat.
Yes, sir.
So only grass fed.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you, Ralph.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Ralph. Take care, guys.
Yep. Take care.